Salute! Today, we will demonstrate a couple of self-defense techniques, combat techniques, from the traditional Shaolin Kung Fu form known as Luohan. We'll start with the first technique. So this demonstration is for multiple attackers. If you have attackers on various sides of the front, you have one facing you in front here, and if they're very close, they're crowding you. These techniques are for very close combat. If someone grabs you here, they grab the lapel, they grab the throat. There's a couple things you can do. You can use this to push down. Obviously, if someone kicks you in the groin, you can also block, or if someone grabs your vest or your belt, you can use that. There's many things you can do with the downward block. But the purpose of the downward block, if he grabs again, is that now you have the wrist exposed, so you can then use your right hand to grab the meaty part of the palm and use the wrist to turn your opponent over. The good thing about this is now, if my opponent is turned over, I can use him to push into the second guy. And if this guy tries to grab me, I can sink, or kick me, I can sink low. Which gives me time for this opponent here. I can punch, this is called a double punch to the ears. I can punch him to the ear. If he blocks, if he decides to block that, I can then use the lock here and grab the outside. I can use him to then defend myself against this guy. And if I do it with enough speed and control, I can use this guy to kick him in the foot, and I can sweep him like that. Now, if I'm dealing with an opponent here and someone comes in this direction and grabs you, you can wrestle and clinch or get close into here. And if you get close and you grab the clothing, you can even throw your opponent onto the ground. Okay? And that is technique number one. And salute! In this one, we'll start with defending against two opponents. So if the two opponents face me in this front, in this direction here, the first technique is from the Luohan. The Luohan, or the warrior sitting on the mountain. This is a very traditional pose. You'll see it in Shaolin Kung Fu and a lot of different other martial arts, this kind of pose here. Now, in a real life application, if someone kicks you, you can check. If he kicks faster and a little higher, you can use that to check. What's good about this one, you can then show a front kick. So as I check, boom, I can shoot the front kick. If I want to go to the face, I can do the same thing. I can check and boom, kick with the front kick. Now, when that happens, if someone comes from this direction, you can duck, and now you have all the body shots you can hit. You can even hit to the head. Now, if I'm focusing on hitting this guy, and another opponent comes from this direction and grabs me, and another opponent comes and grabs me from this direction here, you can then grab and lock into one hand, or two hands if you can, and then wrestle and kind of lock him down. If this guy comes back, you can throw him into him, and then you can actually punch two people or one person, and if someone comes and grabs you from the back, tries to wrestle with me, I can then side kick. So if someone's getting close, I can use my ambush. But before I do that, if someone kicks me to the stomach, you have your double block. So if you kick strong, you can double block and then strike two opponents and hit someone behind. Okay, we'll salute out. And salute. This technique, we have an opponent on this side, and we also have an opponent coming from this side, so we're going to use for this technique here. Now, there's a couple things you can do. If someone punches to your head, you can dodge that. If someone comes back here, you can protect. This is a parry. There's different ways to parry. But what's nice about this technique is once you parry, you can sneak and shoot a punch from underneath. This is also an arm bar. So you can grip the wall and grip the arm. The left leg can be used for balancing. So you can balance with the left leg if you need it. Then you can roll behind and place your opponent down into the ground to kind of hold and be control. Now, from this position, there's a traditional Shaolin pose, which is a lock of the body. So for instance, if he kicks at me into the stomach, I can block. So kick a little harder, go. Exactly. So when you maybe do a round kick on this side, so when he does that, I can walk up and tighten up. So kick, tighten up. And if he kicks me here, again, I can, with the right leg, I can block here. What's good about the crosswalk is that you can now turn the ankle and break. You can break away. As I'm dealing with an opponent in this direction, if someone grabs me here, and while I'm dealing with this, you have a nice lock. Now this is a good arm break because you can break the arm and the wrist if necessary and deliver a devastating punch. Now if your opponent grabs you there, you then have a second choice, which is a hammer, a good breakaway. So if he grabs me, I can break away and then hit to the temples, finally delivering a front kick. And then if someone comes from behind, you can dodge or evade from the spinning heel kick, or from a grab as well. So he attacks, go! Shoot! And you can sink into your lotus posture or your Buddha laying down or sleeping. Okay, so for that. And salute! This technique will have an opponent coming from this direction and flying inside the lotus crescent kick. So you can take a rest here. We'll have one opponent over here, and the final opponent will be at a distance. So from this sleeping Buddha technique or crouching position, if I lift very quickly and he roundhouse kicks me here, I can protect and push or grab, whatever you want. Say I want to throw him like last time, but he has me, I can't throw him. Then you can sneak away and push back. That pushback, sneaking away and pushback, that can lead you to a spinning kick. So if you have an opponent here, I can shoot the spinning kick, and shoot the spinning kick, inside lotus kick. Okay? And salute! Self-defense technique. In the final self-defense technique, you have two opponents on the right side here and one opponent up front facing you in this direction. Now this one, if someone grabs you here, or even with two hands they want to punch you here, you always have a good blocking technique. And this technique you're going to see a lot. It's like a flower left or a flower right. This technique is very common, even in Shisao and in Wing Chun and all sorts of martial arts. If he grabs me, you can use that. If he grabs me here, you can use that. What's good about this technique is I can use that and throw him away. Then you go back into the Luohan pose. Again, this can be used very easily if he kicks me just as a defense position. Again, and then a jumping front kick. Shooting the front kick. If someone comes in from the side here, you can protect. And again, shooting up into the inside of the body. This leg can sweep. So if you want, you can use this leg and sweep it away. While you're fiddling with one opponent, if someone grabs you from the other side, you can then come in, break the grip, step behind into the horse stance, and throw away. The final technique will be down, and then hero sitting on the mounted pose for the end of the form. Okay, ready? And salute!